The clerk to the Appointments Committee is a public servant and should not be dragged into the failure of the members of the committee to resolve their differences. This clerk has worked with us for 19 good years, and she is one of the best clerks that we have had. Please, you can check from former members of parliament, and she's been at that committee for some time now, not just now. As clearly stated in the standing orders of Parliament, a clerk to a committee is the administrative head of the secretariat of the committee and is the procedural and technical advisor to the chair and the committee. By the provisions of Order 2663 of the standing orders of Parliament, a committee to which a business has been referred shall meet to consider the business on the day and the hour determined by the chairperson of the committee with respect to that business. That is Order 2663 of our standing orders. It is thus the duty of the clerk to the committee to transmit the notice of the meeting in accordance with the instructions of the chair and the provisions of Order 2701B. Therefore, any displeasure by a member on the date, hour, or business for consideration at a committee ought to properly be directed at the chair and not the clerk to the committee, who is duty-bound under the said order to transmit notices and to organize the meeting. The standing orders of the House are very clear. Clerks to committees do not convene meetings. Chairs of committees do. A clerk to a committee transmits notice of a meeting that has been called by a chair suo motu or acting on the request of 15% of members of the committee. I refer to the orders 2663 and 271B. The clerk thus works to the chair as the clerk to Parliament works to the Speaker. The clerk to a committee is the principal advisor to the committee, just as the clerk to Parliament is the principal advisor to the Speaker. Even if the clerk had erred, subjecting her to public ridicule and humiliation, where she had no opportunity to respond, was entirely inappropriate. Where an error is alleged to have occurred, we must be civil and careful in drawing the attention of the appropriate authorities to it and not fall for the temptation to drag the name of an officer into disrepute. While I advise members to use only the laid-down hierarchy and procedures to resolve any grievance that may arise in relation to an officer or a department of the service, I also call on the chairs of the committees to, as a matter of urgency, ensure a strict adherence to the standing orders of Parliament and to maintain law and order at committee meetings. Honorable members, in spite of your numbers, you are not to oppress the minority. I don't know how many of you are old enough to collect the boxer called Sule Shitu. You are old enough to recollect Sule Shitu. He was a very brilliant boxer, very slippery. But he was what? Featherweight. Very light, nimble-footed, and he thought he was strong. One blow of middleweight, he flew so far that he never woke up, and that was the end of his boxing. I don't want anybody to commit suicide, so we'll leave it at that. I'm responsible for upholding your rights and protecting all of you. And those who have felt the branches of the law. Honorable member, when it is before me, nobody can save you. When it's outside, you can run to me, I will go and save you. And you can ask your colleagues. A lot has come before me, and I've always intervened, both sides, to protect the members and to save them. You can ask all the state agencies involved. And so it's not restricted to any side, both sides, all members. Those of you who don't know it, that's why I'm drawing your attention to it. When you get into any of those challenges and you draw the attention of the office of the Speaker intervenes. And by law, you are protected. There is a procedure we use to do that. We are not above the law, not at all. But there is a procedure because it's not you. You now represent a whole constituency, large number of men and women, children, elderly people. That is why you are made of now, not as individuals. And the rights of all that group cannot be taken for granted. So please, we do so without fear or favor. But let me say that I have read some media reports that some members of the House have referred to me as headmaster, treating honorable members like students. I reject that assertion. But I can assure you that when there are students, there must be a headmaster. If you don't have a headmaster, you know what is going to happen in the school. The former Minister of Education is nodding his head. But I'll end by saying this, which is better captured in Latin. It says, qui multum datum. It's very simple. To whom much is given, much is expected. And so, you are not called honorable for nothing. They expect so much from you. And don't forget that there's life after Parliament. With this, I want to thank all of you for your attention. And I promise you, the investigations will continue. The report will be brought to the House. The House will have an opportunity to take a decision. That is the procedure outlined by our rules, by our practice, and by custom and convention of the House. That will be done. Honorable members, self-regulation is better than external regulation. And so, please, this matter should be handled by the special committee at the committee level and report to us. I've told the leaders to make themselves available to the committee and to state exactly what happened, because we want nothing but facts, nothing but the truth, so that we can apply the rules correctly. I urge the committee not to make it a matter of public debate. What you know here is not known by the public. What you do here is also not known by the public. And so when you rush to the public, one word can confuse the whole country. But that word will be understood differently in this House. We still have a lot of work to do with our partners outside this House. A matter of education, a matter of advocacy, and we'll focus on it. So I thank you all, and please, let's continue to work together as a family. Thank you so much. I'm just being informed that the leaders want to say a word or two. And so, once again, Minority Leader, you can start.
Mr. Speaker, I convey the gratitude of the Minority Caucus on your final decision in these matters. We reiterate our continuous cooperation and believe that the gesture thus far shown by you and that of my respected senior colleague and senior at the bar who leads the House, we will make things better, and that we would have a big stomach to accommodate ourselves, especially we sitting to your left, the minority. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today I'm taking lessons in humility. My brother and colleague, the Minority Leader, is teaching me how to be humble. Mr. Speaker, we thank you very much for your magnanimity and considering our appeals and lifting the suspension on our colleagues. We want to assure you that we will be of good behavior going forward, and your appointments committee, I believe, will function in a better atmosphere. Mr. Speaker, there are a few other things that I will bring to your attention. In his statement, he drew attention to the organization of the security around where the appointments committee sits. He also drew attention to the corridor and how members of the appointments committee feel uncomfortable about the numbers that show up at the sitting of the appointments committee, and how sometimes it can get congested and the pressures exerted by nominees. And then also some of the challenges. I think the part of the challenge was the fact that on the Wednesday when they were supposed to sit, due to a decision to hear some contempt matters before them, they shifted a few more nominees to the day after. And so there was a lot of pressure on the Thursday, and that affected the crowds that showed up and the urge to try and approve and vet as many nominees as possible. So, Mr. Speaker, these are all matters that I will take up with my colleague and the chairman of the appointments committee. But in the meantime, we thank you for your decision to set aside the suspension of our colleagues. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, let me also on your behalf thank our leaders for leading us to solve this problem. I was going to make a very lengthy statement on the other incident affecting the clerk to the committee. In view of what has happened, I will summarize it. I won't go through the whole hog. I did indicate this to the leaders, and in fact, I read through it to them, and I think that it's important. I draw the attention of members to the salient points, and particularly our partners, the public, to what is expected of all of us when we are dealing with the staff. This is the law, it's in the Constitution, it's in the Acts, and it's in our standing orders. Once again, I make this statement to address conduct of some members of the appointments committee at a recent committee meeting and on various media space in the country. You recall the incident that we just referred to in what the majority leader referred to as an application for bail, and how it's usually submitted by counsels before a court. After my statement that day, that was Friday, my attention was drawn to this incident. And as the Speaker of the House and Chairman of the Parliamentary Service Board, I strongly condemn that incident. Honorable members, I do this because the Parliamentary Service Act mandates me to do so. The Speaker is the person endowed with the ultimate responsibility for the administration, organization, and control of employees within the service. So it's my responsibility, and I will not share that responsibility. It's as a result of that, I led the Parliamentary Service Board to put structures and systems in place to assure all staff of the Parliamentary Service of a robust support in the discharge of their duties to Parliament and members of Parliament. And this is to ensure that we have a very efficient and effective Parliament that is responsive to the needs of the people we represent. With this, I thank all of you for your attention. We have other statements to make. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, crave your indulgence to vary the order of business so that we can commence public business. Mr. Speaker, I want us to take the report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency's ministerial nominees. But we need to vary the order of business to achieve that. With your indulgence and that of the House, if we may vary the order of business.
Let me hear from your colleague Minority Leader first. Yes?
Mr. Speaker, this is a big surprise to me. A moment ago, the chair of the committee and I engaged on the draft report which has been sent to me to have my input. I'm not aware of any report that the chair and my good self have agreed for same to be laid and distributed. We have not discussed that. The chair is here. I do not know whether he has signed any report. So maybe the respected leader of the House may give us further information on its application. Thank you, sir.
Chairman of the Appointments Committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, the draft report has been given to us since Friday. Right Honorable Speaker, this morning I reached out to the Minority Leader regarding his concerns about the report. Right Honorable Speaker, the concerns raised was that one of the nominees promised to bring some documents. And Right Honorable Speaker, the document has since been delivered. Right Honorable Speaker, based on the delivery of the document, I have proceeded to sign the report in the absence of any other information from the Minority Leader. So, Right Honorable Speaker,
Did you make the documents available to the Minority Leader?
Yes.
He has copies?
Yes.
Minority Leader, is that the case?
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, please.
Mr. Speaker, we can only make progress if we act in good faith. I shall repeat my side. Me as a leader would not obstruct government business. Never. I've been in government before. I know how difficult it is to run a government. I've been a leader and I know. But the only pathway to success is to act in good faith. Mr. Speaker, since the chair has spoken for the records and for Hansard, let me respond to him appropriately to the best of my knowledge. Mr. Speaker, yesterday night, and because of the happenings, the person who received the document signed, the draft report got to my office, it was signed. I invited our clerk, and I have my text messages as evidence. I invited her to come so that together we can sit and discuss the issues. Mr. Speaker, may the backbenchers and the young ones in appreciate the spirit of the House this afternoon. It is government business. If you think you can be making noise, your government business will delay. Whilst you await your nomination, make the noise for recognition. That is why you've not been nominated yet. Those who don't make noise have been nominated. Mr. Speaker, those who don't make noise have been nominated.
Honorable Majority Leader, address me.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, yes. That is your role, to make noise. Go ahead. Mr. Speaker, I invited the clerk to come for us this morning. Unfortunately, I received a call from another officer that the clerk was unable to come because she has to meet with you. So another officer came, called Madam Ekua Drua. I know her in this house. She came with another gentleman, and we went through, because I have records of all the documents that the nominees had indicated they were going to provide to us. So we went through. One nominee has provided some of the documents. The rest are yet to. So we went through the records and they took note that they were going to follow up. The other nominee has not provided a single document that he himself promised to provide to us. So I even suggested to them that in view of that, we can take those nominees who don't have any issue at all, so that those we are waiting the documentation, when those documents come, we'll deal with it. Just on the corridors, they assured me that they were chasing for those